Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
And I'm Shannon Penrod. Thank you for being with us. In just a minute, as promised, we are going to be showing you some of the interviews of this lovely event that we were at on Saturday. But before we do that, Nancy, I wanted to take a second. We've been talking all morning about harassment and bullying, in particular this story, the Stuart Chaffetz story, and you haven't had a chance to weigh in, and I wanted to get your thoughts about this devastating tape that the father produced.
Well, you and I talked about this yesterday. As soon as it hit the web, we saw it. And it's a particular interest to me because at Act Today, we have decided to do an awareness campaign on the rampant bullying of children on the autism spectrum. And as part of that, it's going to be called the Compassion Project. Compassion for Autism is Cool is what we're going to teach. And we're going to have a group of young people, including Jesse Saperstein, who has been on the show, as spokespeople who have been the object of bullying themselves, to talk at schools, to talk at groups around the country, and discuss how important this is to learn about neurotypical, the differences between children on the spectrum and young adults and teens on the spectrum and typical kids, and be aware that just because they're different doesn't mean they're less than. So when this hit yesterday, I said, Shannon, you got to see this. We looked at it, and we were both in tears. I have to say, thank God we have the internet. Because what a powerful voice it is for that child. And I think the father was very clever to do this. I applaud him doing this. He's really taking the high road. And I noticed one of the hits that one of the comments was, sue them, because if you hit them monetarily, they won't do anything. It won't change anything unless you hit them monetarily. I do believe there have to be consequences. I do believe people in positions of power that take advantage of any child, much less a child that cannot defend itself, there should be consequences. I think that these teachers that were responsible in AIDS need to offer an apology. I think the district has some explaining to do. And I believe we need safeguards so this will never happen to children again, because I can guarantee you this is an isolated case and it's happening elsewhere. So stay tuned for more about our Compassion Project and things you can do to help. And, you know, be a voice out there for anti-bullying of our children.
Yes, absolutely. We've talked about how there's a petition people can sign at change.org, and there's a a Facebook page for bullying. We'll find that.
And even more importantly, as you always say, Shannon, it starts at home. Start with your own child, making sure that they're not the object of bullying. Safeguard your child. Do everything you can to know what's going on in the classroom, to know what's going on when your child is not at home, and to make sure your own child is not bullying. It starts with us.
Yep, absolutely. But on other happier news, we went to a fabulous event on Saturday.
Yes, we did.
Wonderful.
The Autism Speaks walk. I had never been.
And what were your thoughts afterwards? Because I had told you it's life-changing, it's wonderful, it's amazing. What did you think? Did I
so many thoughts, and I want to get into it, into the tape, but my main thought was we are an autism nation.
Yes, we are.
And when you can get 35,000 people to the Rose Bowl representing one city, LA, and the greater LA area, you realize not only is this an epidemic, this is a movement, I think we're on the frontier of a huge civil rights movement, and I had many haunting images, quite frankly, Shannon. I had a lot of hope. I could not believe the children, the families we met where mothers were like, they were 1.5 and 2-year-olds and they were already getting intervention. And I thought, this is how much things have changed. But on the other hand, I was haunted by images of 30 and 40-year-old and 20-some-year-old autistic young adults and adults that clearly had been left out, that clearly did not get intervention, and were walking around with helmets, leashes and belts, barely functioning. And I thought, this is why we fight. We fight for them. We fight for their mothers, their fathers, and for them, because they cannot fight for themselves. And it's a tragedy what has happened to so many of our kids. It should never have happened.
Yep.
And we've got to make sure it's not going to continue to happen.
Absolutely.
So that's what I thought.
Well, and so wonderful. And I know we get emotional about it, both of us, because this is an emotional thing. And I know that you guys watching at home, it's emotional for you as well. But the upside, you know, on the positive end of things, we met some amazing people.
And we are not alone.
No, we are not alone. So we want to start to show you some
Yes.
tapes. So take a look at a couple of the interviews that we did, and then we'll talk to you in just a minute.
From Autism Speaks, Matthew. Wow, is all I can say.
Well, I was right. It's my first time kind of being in charge of all this, and it's amazing.
What do you hope people get out of today by attending and participating?
Honestly, I hope they get what I got when I first got here, when I first came to a walk, which is an idea that we're not alone, that there's hope, that, you know, even if you feel bad one day, you can be around so many people and have an uplifting moment and realize that we're all in this together. We have the largest resource fair, I think, probably, I'm going to say it, in the world maybe, and it's unbelievable. It's like, I think if you stretched it out, it'd be like half a mile long, I think. Maybe a mile, I don't know. You know, it's unbelievable. But we have like over 100 resource vendors here, and they're all just amazing people who want to show what they're doing, this amazing stuff they're doing.
Matt, what can people do? I'm with a nonprofit, Autism Care and Treatment Today. Obviously, they can donate to help kids get treatment and therapy. What can they do to help Autism Speaks deal with this epidemic?
They can come out to the walk, they can donate money. The money goes for research, advocacy, awareness, and family services. If you donate to our walk, every dollar that you spend here stays in Southern California.
All right, so it's a great cause. Go on to Autism Speaks. If you're not here today, come out next year.
Come out to the walk.
Come out.
Jesse is my 8-year-old son. He's high-functioning autistic. He was diagnosed when he was 6. He didn't talk till he was 4. We've been through just about everything, and we're here to walk for him in honor of him and all the other autistic kids out there.
How does it feel as a mom? I'm a mom of a child on the spectrum too. How does it feel to see all these people here?
It's good to know that you are not alone and that there's a lot of support out there, and there's a lot of things like this, fundraising for research and things like that. It's comforting knowing that we're not alone out there.
Evan was diagnosed in November, so we just wanted to get involved. Everyone joined in today and to come here and help support and raise awareness with us. Right, sweetheart?
I'm Elisa Wolf, and I'm the Executive Director and Founder of Actors for Autism. We provide new and innovative programs for children and adults in the arts. We run acting classes, social skills, and we recently started an Advanced Media Vocational Academy in TV, film, animation, and video game design for adults. The Walk is an amazing opportunity for us to get the word out about our programs and support autism research.
We have a great vocational program where we teach young adults, 19 to 30-year-olds, trade, but we teach them animation, computer graphics, rotoscoping. Right now we've only been in business for 8 months, so we haven't been around very long, but we've done several titles. Judy Moody, the movie, we did all the titles for at the end, all the credits. We've done 2 more movies which I can't talk about because they're not released yet, but we've also we do web maintenance, and we're doing 2D to 3D conversion for 3D movies.
Kids Like Me encompasses all of our camp programs. We have 4 camps that specifically work with children on the spectrum. We also have after-school programs as well as teen club events. We also have a resource fair coming up in May, plus all of our schools and many different things that the Help Group does for children with autism.
Unintentional humor is a compilation of stories that I collected through Brent's life with autism. He's always taken things very literal, and what I found is a lot of times it's very funny, and it's unintentionally funny. So Brent worked directly with our cartoonist. He's wearing a shirt, which is one of our cartoons, which is actually, if you can guess that one, I don't know if you can, it's a hard one.
Fishing tackle.
So our book is filled with cartoons and stories explaining the literal mind of autism, and then in the back we offer definitions so people can learn what some of these meanings are and that they don't know. And we've tried to find the humor in a really challenging diagnosis, and sometimes this is what we came up with, so we're excited. We're just excited to be a part of this organization. We did the walk in Santa Barbara in November and had fun, and Brent's just a great inspiration to people with autism, so it's exciting.
The books I illustrated, Danny and Goliath and Richie and Goliath are about, it's a stories between the friendship and against bullying.
You can go to Inclusion Films on the website and you can check out Danny's books. You can buy them, and we want to have you in the studio on the show. Danny and Goliath is the first one, Richie and Goliath, and I can tell you, your kids will love these books. My little boy wants to read them almost every night. It's amazing. He's kind of obsessed with them. He's going to be so excited that I met you, Danny. Give me a hug.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited to meet Danny, Shannon, because Wyatt loves these books, Danny and Goliath, which are part of, they came out of Inclusion Films, our friend Joey Travolta, who we're going to be having on the show soon. Yes. And meeting Danny was so exciting for me, and I bought this book for Jim, which is so the first one, Danny and Goliath, and there's Richie and Goliath, and it's about bullying, by the way.
Love it.
It's about a little bull who got bullied and a boy who gets bullied, and they form a friendship, and then the bull becomes really huge and he protects the little boy. Wonderful. So she is such an amazing young girl and so talented. That was a thrill for me. And tell us, we met the unintentional humor people.
Yeah, and I mentioned this the other day on the show, but I couldn't remember the name of it, and we had the book here with us, and they even signed the book for us, and we definitely want to get them on the show. But
yes.
This is so clever because one of the things that we work on with our kids is figures of speech, right? Being able to understand, because so much of language, if you're being very literal, is really hard. So I love it when people look at things and see the humor in things, right? And you always talk about this, that, take your disability and turn it into your opportunity. And
they are such an example of that.
Aren't they? And they said that there were so many, the name of the book, Unintentional Humor, there were so many things that had come up in their lives.
Celebrating the literal mind of autism. And this happens with Wyatt all the time. And he also doesn't understand why there are two words that mean the same thing, that sound alike, that have different meanings.
Right.
So I love this. Couch potato.
Yes.
The potato is sitting on the couch, right?
And I love the baseball bat. The
with
bat
a bat.
And his shirt that said fishing tackle. There was the picture for fishing tackle. So what a clever thing, and what a great resource to be able to go through this with your child at a certain developmental level, and to look at things and to have a conversation about this.
It's really a great therapy tool, right?
It is. It's a wonderful thing and very clever. A wonderful book to have in your home. Yeah. Very, very fun. Yeah. To look at them from that perspective. So we so enjoyed, and there's so many more people. We have more interviews to show you throughout the show. But we had a really good time getting to meet people and to get out and have those conversations with people and see the things, not only the families but the vendors too, to see all the people who are working like-minded in all different kinds of ways.
Right.
In the Exceptional Minds talking about the titles that they were doing for
that films. Is so exciting to me that they have got our kids and our young adults working in animation, doing title sequences for major motion pictures.
Right. Learning a trade. In a place where those skills are very highly praised.
Yes. Yes.
Talk about self-esteem for kids.
Oh, it's, and we need more of this, and it just was so exciting for me. I had a very wonderful personal experience at the walk. I had a friend and her mother who have a 29-year-old, the girl has interned for me, and her brother is 29 and on the spectrum. And she and her mother came because I urged them to come. They feel he is being very underutilized, working at a theater part-time. And he's a very bright kid with high-functioning autism or Asperger's. And they came and got so many resources and realized there's a lot more that he could be doing.
Yes.
So that was, they put their arms around me, and with tears streaming down their faces, they said, thank you for making us come. So I want to say to families out there, go next year. You'll really discover a lot. And a lot of our events, that we tell you about have resource fairs. And I believe that these resource fairs, they can be life-changing.
Yes.
A lot of the conferences and seminars we tell you about, go on the Schaefer Autism Report, go on the calendar, find out what's going on. You can find resources that will change your child's life, change your life, and really help your family. I think it's so important to get out to these events.
Yeah, I think whenever you can. And when you can't get there, we like to be there or get there in some way so that you can experience it at least in this way.
Yes, and show you what's available. And hopefully from some of what you're seeing today, if you're like, wow, animation, my child really likes that, and they're at the age where they could go into this program, check it out.
Absolutely, absolutely amazing things that can be done. So we have some more interviews to show you. Take a look at some of the other people that we talked to at the walk.
So what's a nice woman like you doing in a place like this?
I was just about to ask you the same thing. What's a nice guy like you doing?
I woke up this morning and I said, something about the Rose Bowl is drawing me. I think there's going to be 28,000 friends, and I'm going to come out and say hi.
Oh, you've got a great personality. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Bennett Ross. I'm the executive director of the Frostic Center, where a school here in Pasadena works with kids with special needs. We have kids with learning disabilities, Asperger's, and we're a regular school program, and our goal is to get our kids as well educated as we possibly can and then back into the mainstream, into general ed.
And I know you're doing that because my friend Monica Holloway, who is the author of Cowboy and Wills, has just told me that Wills is being mainstream.
He is. Wills has been with us for a few years, and next year he's going off to a regular general education high school, and we are incredibly proud of him. He's really made a huge amount of progress. He's a great kid. We're going to miss him, and we're going to miss his mom.
Okay. Now, obviously you're here supporting Autism Speaks Walk. Tell us what you hope families get out of this experience.
Well, I think that there's this wonderful sense of coming together, this sense of being part of a community, which is so important. It's so isolating when you have a kid who's got special needs, a kid who's got autism, and your friends sort of make believe they understand, but they don't really know what the experience is like. You come out to a place like this, and it's all friends, and everybody understands, and everybody knows, and you feel a sense of community. It's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing.
I'm Erica Crawford. I'm here in support of my son, Trini Crawford.
And who is this fabulous team?
This is my lovely family and friends behind me that support Trini for the Autism Walk.
All right.
All right, now what brought you out here today?
Well, I just felt like it was time for me to get out and fight for my son and walk for him and to walk for a cure, find out what causes autism. And my son was diagnosed in 2009. So
you got an early diagnosis.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes.
And if you could say something to moms out there, what would it be?
Never give up.
Never give up. You heard it here. Never give up. Yeah. All right. Well, you go, Team Trini.
Brian was diagnosed 2 weeks ago, and right now we're going through the behavioral therapy, and he's going to do good.
He's going to do great. How old is he?
He's 2.5. He's going to be 3 in June.
Well, you got an early diagnosis. You got early start. And who are all these great people out supporting you?
Family. We got daddy. We got big sister. We got aunts. Godparents.
Great. And who's Ryan? Yeah!
We are Team Green Bean. This is our 7th year. I'm Andrea Lee Greenberg. This is my husband, Ari. Our son, Tyler, is impacted with autism, diagnosed at the age of 2. He's now 9. And we got involved passionately with Autism Speaks and formerly Cure Autism Now to raise awareness for autism for the thousands and thousands of kids, adults, and teenagers impacted with this disorder. It's the fastest growing disorder in the country, and the millions of families that are impacted and affected. And we want to just not only create awareness, but to let people know that there's a community in your city, in your state, in the country, and also to celebrate these amazing, amazing babies, kids, and adults who are impacted, who deserve to have a place in our community and a voice and the right to be within our community and to be loved and learn from us. And we learn so much from them.
Wow, Ari, did you teach her to do all that? That's the most amazing soundbite I've ever heard.
She used all my lines.
And we do this for the love of our son Tyler, and everybody here either knows him or has someone who in their family. It's not a family epidemic, it's a national epidemic, because everybody here has a friend, a neighbor, a co-worker, a family member, a loved one who's impacted, and therefore this is why we have Team Green Bean, and this is why we raise so much money every year for them.
How big is Team Green Bean? I mean, my gosh.
Eric can talk to the numbers.
I think we have about 1,500 people who've donated and about 200 people who show up here every year.
Now, Ari, you are in the entertainment industry. Tell us about what you do.
I sell TV shows, so
And very effectively.
it's the same as this. It's trying to get a lot of people to sit around and watch the same thing at once. And in this case, it's trying to get a lot of people to sit around and think about the same cause.
Wonderful group of people. So many people.
You know, watching it again, I just feel like I'm there again, and I feel like we were so blessed to meet these people, the families that. You know, in my job at Act Today, I oftentimes will tell Amy, who processes all our grants and deals with the families. Sometimes when I really want to get in touch with the families, I'll say, Amy, let me talk to them, because I'll hear her talking to a mom or a dad. And I'll get on the phone and I'll say, you know, tell me about your child. And when you connect with these parents who are doing everything in their power to help their children. They're doing everything in their power to give their child the best. And not only that, go out there and raise money for other kids and for research. And it's so inspiring.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing too. And you know, what was funny is that we'll walk up to people. There would be a group of people together in like T-shirts, and we walk up and say, "Hey, you know, what are you guys doing?" And we had the microphone, and we had the camera, and people would go, "Oh, you want to interview?" And I think they thought we were just some other news outlet, you know? And sometimes we would interview them and we would talk to them, and then when we were done, we would say, you know, well, we're autism moms too. And it was so interesting with the reaction then that people go, "Oh," and we were all like in arms, hugged, and they were like, "Oh, you're one of us."
Right.
It was just a really interesting, that kind of a moment.
Yes.
That recognition. There was the two moms in particular, I think, that are coming up in the next segment, that we had to wait for one of them to come back to interview them, and finally they came back, and I remember there was that moment, and I said, well, you gotta meet Nancy too, and the woman was on crutches and she was hugging us.
Yes, I met her. Yes, I remember
because she was like, oh, I didn't realize you were moms too.
Yes.
It just became a different thing.
It does, because the camaraderie, community, you know, we're all in this together. And when you realize, that's the amazing thing about autism. And at the walk, you know, you see every color person, every color, every nationality, every socioeconomic level. And, you know, when you see people like Ari Greenberg, who, very powerful agent, you know, the rumor is that the agent Jeremy Piven plays on Entourage was based on Ari's character. And this is a man who, you know, deals with millions of dollars every day, major celebrities. But what's the most important thing he's doing? Getting out there and raising money for autism research and awareness, and in honor of his child. And he will tell you that's the most important thing in his life.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
He and his wife. They're both great.
She what a wonderful speaker. We have to get her in on the show, because she has a really wonderful voice that speaks for all of us. But wonderful to talk to all the different families. It's amazing how when you ask somebody, so what's your story? Because we all have an autism story.
We all do.
And I don't think any of us ever get tired of sharing the story, because it's sort of like that car accident that happened that you have to go back over and over again.
It's that pivotal moment in your life that your life is never the same after your child is diagnosed. You will never be the same. And of all the things, I have to say, you know, my husband has battled cancer for some time and is right now. And we always tell people that autism has been the greatest challenge of anything. And that's not to minimize anything else. really not to minimize anything else, but of all the struggles I've gone through in my life with, failed adoptions and infertility issues, and then finally adopting a child, and my husband's battle with cancer and all of that, the thing that really defines us more than anything is being parents of a child with autism.
Absolutely.
Because it has changed our life so profoundly.
Absolutely.
And changed the path of my life and yours. Absolutely. And I know you feel this way.
Absolutely. It's funny because one of the people who was there that we didn't have an opportunity to interview was Bradley Whitford, was also there, one of the many stars. And we're going to show interviews with the stars that we were able to talk to.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah,
and speaking of that, Gary Cole is going to be on. We're going to be talking to Gary Cole, the great actor who's on The Good Wife right now and was on West Wing and had many of his own series before that. And I said to Gary, because he and his wife Teddy have been amazing advocates. They have a daughter who's 19, Mary, no, 18 or 17 or 18, going off to college, by the way.
Wonderful.
So we talked about that. And I said to Gary, of all the great work you've done, because he's such a prolific actor, I said, I think that you being a pioneer, you and Teddy being pioneers in the field, and coming public about this is perhaps, for me at least, it's the greatest thing you've ever done. And he said, I have no doubt, Nancy, that when it's all said and done, my work with autism and being the proud parent of Barry and being an advocate is probably the most important thing and what I will remember when it's all said and done. Not the Emmy Awards, not the shows, not the ratings, not the roles.
Right.
But the role he played as an advocate, as a dad, as a celebrity who was brave enough to get out there.
He was one of the first, if not the first. Amazing. All right, we're getting all teared up.
Okay.
We're going to show you some more interviews, and then we'll talk to you at the end of those. So take a look at who else we interviewed.
Hi. Hi. Who are you and what are you doing today?
My name is Julie and I am here to walk for autism. I have a son with autism and we're proud to be out here today. Every day is a new day, is a changing day, and we couldn't be happier to support and to be here to raise money for such an important cause.
Go Team Ben!
Yay!
Team Micah is a new nonprofit organization that we just started, me and my husband, Sean Stockman. He's in Boys to Men. He's actually on tour today. He couldn't be here. He's in Nebraska. So we started the nonprofit to help fund families financially because it costs so much money. And when we first found out about Micah having the diagnosis back when he was 2, we just delved in. And we were fortunate enough to be able to afford treatment for a lot of the different things. And it's costly, and insurance, as you know, doesn't cover anything. So we started the nonprofit, and we started getting involved with Autism Speaks. It took us a while to get started because we were kind of just trying to figure out what was going on, find our way, because it was kind of like just a Mack truck hitting, the first time you hear it. So it took us a while to jump on board, but we're here. I'm excited. I want to tell everybody about the nonprofit that we have and just try to help educate families that there is treatment, there is help and hope there, and hopefully we can continue to raise money to help find a cure because, it's 1 out of 88 now, from my understanding, is the number, and it's baffling, and we still don't have a cure or understand exactly what's triggering everything. So
how old is Micah now?
Micah's 8. He'll be 9 next month. And he initially started nonverbal. Well, he was speaking, had language. He lost it at 2, regained it at 3. And it's just been a uphill battle, but we have progress. He's fully included now in 3rd grade with the 101, and I'm grateful. I'm blessed. I'm still hopeful, and we're still working really hard to just continue to keep pushing and getting him to that next level in his life.
Jeffrey's 5 years old now. He was diagnosed at 18 months, and we really just do it for awareness and for him, and just to get the word out there that 1 in 88 is pretty high. So we're just trying to find not a cure, but awareness and a way to help others.
My son was diagnosed with autism last March, so ever since then we've been just trying to raise money and trying to grow awareness, because before my son was diagnosed, I had no idea about autism, so trying to educate everybody around us, all our friends, all our family, and anybody else that will listen.
And you got a huge team amassing back here. Team Nick.
Just a couple.
And this is Nikki. Hello.
Hi, Nick.
Yeah, Nicky.
Hi.
And how old is Nick?
Nick is 5. He'll be 6 in a month and a half.
Wonderful. Well, you guys have a great team here. We want to do a big Nick cheer. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
One more time. Hey! Good job.
My son is 11 years old and he has high functioning autism, and his name is Tristan. We have 38 walkers this year.
38! High five, girl. Love the blue. Check out, does everybody see the blue hair here? Okay. 38, how'd you get that many people?
Everybody just this year was very supportive and wanted to get out here and walk, and it's wonderful.
My daughter was diagnosed with autism 9 years ago, and I work with Sylvia. We're colleagues, and she figured that she had a son with autism. And anyway, long story short, we worked together, and my beautiful daughter and her son, we are here walking for them.
Although you're walking with some crutches here, you're really motivated to be
Absolutely, I wouldn't miss it.
My son was diagnosed at 2.5, and as a colleague, she helped me so much get through it, through the pain, through, trying to cope with it. And so she started coming to the walks, and I've been here 4 years now together.
Yep. As moms, when you see this sea of people, what does it make you feel?
I feel supported. It makes me want to cry, and it makes me feel that I'm not the only one. I'm not alone.
Pray. Your child can do anything. Have high hopes for your kid. My daughter's going to be 23 in a month and has a second interview for a job. So everything is possible. Everything is possible.
Yes. I just wanted to say to accept your child and to know that they're perfect, that they can, do everything any other child can do, and just love them more than anything in the world.
It was a really emotional day. I get emotional watching it. There was always that moment when we would talk to people and say, tell us your story. And we all had sunglasses on. It was a very bright, hot day.
It was a very bright, hot day, and obviously we didn't have hair and makeup there.
Well, and even if we had, we would have had to be following us around the powder puff because it was just, sweat. But
and obviously we don't have it on this show, so please forgive us.
Yes,
when sometimes
we're keeping it real.
We're keeping it real. But
everybody would start to well up. There would be that moment, and everybody would take a breath, and it was that, because there's so much emotion. We have a lot of feelings about all this.
I want to just comment, Shannon, on that last, the two women we talked to last. The mom that said your kids can do anything, and we have to believe that. However, some kids do get more of a chance to do anything than others. Absolutely. And that I'm going to do a little plug for ACT Today, Autism Care and Treatment Today. A lot of families don't have access or the funds for treatment, and that's what we're trying to change, the awareness for that. We're trying to change that on this show. We're trying to, with Autism Live, we're trying to give parents tools. You're trying to give parents tools in what you do every morning to give their child equal footing. Not all of our children have equal footing. They don't. That's just the bottom line. And we'd be fooling ourselves to say they did. A lot of our kids don't get diagnosed early. As I said, it was very emotional for me to see some of the adults there who clearly got left out. They missed the bus, I'm telling you. And who's taking care of them? We have to continue to fight for services. We have to continue to fight insurance laws. We have to continue to fight. We have to support lawmakers that support our families. Absolutely. We are the autism nation, and we need to be heard. And we need to fight for our own child first and foremost, or children, for those of you that have multiple children. And then once we're empowered by helping them, help others.
Absolutely.
And band together.
I'll tell you what was interesting to me this time at the walk, because I've gone every year since my son was diagnosed, and as we were walking around and talking to people about where they were and what they were doing, it was very interesting to me that all the parents that have kind of made the shift, they're still working with their child, but they've made the shift into advocacy. That there was a running theme, and that it was the child was 8 and above.
Yes.
You know, I really noticed that because my child is 8.5 and your child is what, 10
Wyatt's 10 now.
And Matt Asner's son is 9.
Yes.
And, you know, so many other parents who are, you know, the Greenbergs, that they were saying that their child. And I just want to say to you that if you're at home and you're watching and you're not at a place where you can be actively every day out there, you know, doing the kinds of things that, you know, we talk about that are available to do, forgive yourself. Again, you're working on what you're working on at home, but when the moment comes, your world opens up a little bit more when your child gets enough help that you can turn around and help.
Yeah, there is. I guess it's that silver lining that you and I talk about so much that happened to us, that we've had the benefit of having autism. Of course, was the initial shock of it was devastating. There's a lot of sorrow with that. But once you get empowered, once you see your child getting better, and then you realize that there's so many other families that need help. And it really has changed our lives for the better. And a lot of what we heard on Saturday was certainly that autism is not a curse, it's a blessing. Because it changes us as human beings for the better. And that the last mom that spoke in that tape who said, love your child and accept them for where they are. Because I think a lot of times we focus so much on recovery, and not every child is going to get recovered.
That's right.
Not every child is going to get recovered. Not every child is even, unfortunately, going to become verbal.
Right, but I do like to mention, though, that everybody can make progress. And
everybody can make progress. That's our message.
Verbal, we can get to functional.
We can get to functional, and we can get to contributing and fitting in. And there are so many resources. So, but forgive yourself every step of the way. If you're sitting there listening and maybe watching some of these parents, and I know, you know, I've confessed many times, and I talk about it quite often, that sometimes I get very down when I hear about recovered kids. It just really affects me. Because I go back and say, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be smart, I'm supposed to be this and that, I was a television producer, I'm supposed to get information. What happened in my case that I did not get a diagnosis till 3 and didn't get any behavior therapy till Wyatt was almost 5? What happened? And I beat myself up. And then I have to remind myself, we each have a path, we each have a purpose. And the purpose of all that was to make me realize that if it could happen to me, it's happening on a far greater level to families with less resources. And it made me change my life to become an advocate for other families. So, and I am blessed for what my son has received, because he has received more than the average child. I know that, I'm aware of that. So every step of the way, wherever you're out at, moms and dads that are listening, give yourself a break. You're where it's hard to accept, you're where you need to be. Even if you're at the point where your child was just diagnosed and you're heartbroken, you're where you need to be. And you will walk your own path.
And it gets better. And we can help it to be better by leveling the playing field, which is what you do. It reminds me, though, that what we haven't talked about today, because we always like to give you something that you can do, that today is the ABLE Action Day for the new bill for ABLE, that we're all supposed to be contacting our congressmen and asking them to support it today. This is a bill that will allow us to put money into an account that is not taxable for our children's care and treatment. We have something similar to that for college. If you want to put money into a specific account, I think it's a 504, a fund that you can put it in, and it's not taxed, but you have to use it in specific ways. And we're asking for that kind of legislation to be applied so that we can have an account that covers therapies and help for our children later on. It's very important today. If you want more information on it, you can go to autismvotes.org. You can find your representative, whether they're supporting it or not. They'll give you a form letter that you can use if you want to send it off to them. There's the address. I totally had forgotten about this.
I'm glad that you're mentioning that. And you know, a lot of times we give the message of becoming an activist and advocate, and we realize you're in the thick of the struggle with your own child at home. This is a way you can just go on your computer, click, and vote and support lawmakers that support our families. I can't say that enough.
Yes, it's so
we have
important,
got to get
especially
people
in this
in
election
office
year.
that support our families. So you
Absolutely.
can do that by voting, by clicking on the web.
Yep. And you know, it's that thing of, we've heard it many times that we'll hear directly from the lawmakers, I'd like to support this, but we haven't heard enough people's voices.
Yes.
It makes me crazy.
I know.
I go, really? What do we have to do? But they say, we want to hear from you. So your voice gets added to that huge pile. It's something you can do. autismvotes.org, and let them know that you are wanting the ABLE Act, because it'll help at least a little. You'll be able to put, if people donate money to your child, you can put it into that account, not taxable. Okay, we have some more interviews to show.
We do.
Okay, so why don't we do that? Let's show some more interviews, and then we'll be back in just a second.
My name's Harvey Rubin, and I am the Public Relations Director for a nonprofit organization called Acing Autism. We conduct classes for the full spectrum of autistic children. We teach here mostly in Los Angeles, at UCLA, at Woodland Hills, the Help Group in Sherman Oaks, and in Culver City at the Vista Del Mar School. We have kids from 4 years old to 20 years old, and it's a wonderful experience for them. They get to play tennis and socialize and do things that autistic kids don't ordinarily get a chance to do. We've had kids who were afraid to use their hands to do anything, 4- and 5-year-old children, and their parents have told me that once they started hitting with a tennis racket, it opened up their whole tactile world and changed their lives because they weren't afraid to touch things anymore. And they get to be in an environment where they're not treated as someone different. They're just part of a group and part of a bunch of kids that are having fun, which is what kids should do.
My college roommate right here, his cousin was diagnosed with autism, so we launched Autism Online Community for parents who have kids with autism, and it's just to connect parents all over the world.
And I hear it's doing just that, and that it's amazing. So
we have nearly 30,000 users in our database, and we keep on getting, new people are signing up every day, so it's definitely helping around the globe.
you're talking to parents out there listening today, what you encourage them to share on the site.
Basically anything they want, from kids who graduate from high school and you feel like you have no resources. Believe me, there are some resources, to parents who just got the diagnosis and don't really know where to go or who to talk to. These are all people that have been in a similar boat with you, or are dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. So definitely don't be shy, just log in. It's free. Most importantly, it's free, and you can input your zip code and get resources, from after school programs to summer camps, local therapists, whatever you want.
Tell me about this really fun activity here today.
Well, these are some little F-16 mini jets. They're painted at the same scheme as the Air Force Thunderbirds, but we take these jets to 13 organizations with children with disabilities and illnesses. We bring them also here to the children with autism for the LA County chapter, and we take them down over to the Anaheim Stadium for the Orange County chapter of children with autism.
All right, we're here with Valerie Vanneman, who's one of the top special needs attorneys in the Los Angeles area. Valerie, what brings you out here today?
I've been coming to this, I think, since the first one, because it's an important resource for families. It's important to come out and support it, and it's an important way to let people know there are lawyers out there who are providing representation for people.
It's very important. And Valerie, tell us the services you provide for families.
We are a law firm. We've been doing this since 1981, essentially. We represent families against school districts when their children have problems with school district matters. We represent families with regional centers. We do conservatorships. We do some special needs planning. And we try and generally help families understand the systems they're up against and what goes on in those systems when they're seeking services for their children. We do IEP meetings, administrative hearings, federal court actions. We've done some class actions against some school districts in the past. We continue to be aggressive advocates on the behalf of kids with challenges.
Well, Valerie, you're an amazing advocate. You're a real pioneer in this field, and we really appreciate your work on behalf of our children.
I'm glad to be able to do it. I just met someone who says that her grandmother got some training from me, and I realized we've been doing it a long time, but there's some value in that because we have an institutional history and we work hard to make it work for people and to give people some benefit of our knowledge.
Does it give you hope, Valerie, to see children here that have had such early diagnosis and are already getting early intervention?
It absolutely gives me hope. The kids I represented in 1980, 81, 82 would look much different had they had the resources we have available now, if we knew as much as we did now. It's absolutely clear that early intervention, effective early intervention, is the key to outcome. And it's a key to how much the individual is integrated in our society as they grow older, and without it, it's a lost cause in many ways, because they end up needing a much higher level of service than they're going to need if they had the early intervention, at whatever level their functioning may be.
Valerie Vanneman, she is a legend in this area as an attorney with special needs families, and she is going to be coming on, correct?
Yes, we're talking to her about, we think on the 16th of May we're going to have her on. I was excited to meet her. You introduced me to her.
Yes.
I hadn't met her before, certainly heard about her, but had not met her.
Yeah, I would say probably, well, Bonnie Yates we have had on the show, who's such a great friend to Card, and her son Nick Yates has recovered.
Yes.
And we did have Bonnie on at the beginning of IEP season.
Yes.
We are going to have Valerie on. It looks like May 16th.
Yes.
We'll let everybody know.
Absolutely.
Now, Valerie is another legendary attorney for special needs issues. And what she said, that last remark of how important it is to get our children what they need when they're younger, get them the educational get their educational needs met, the one-on-one support, because it saves money down the line.
Absolutely.
And why don't lawmakers get this?
Well, some do. Some do, but you know, there are a whole lot of people who don't get it.
Yeah.
And people are who vote and put the lawmakers in. So I think it really becomes that, going back to when we let the lawmakers know and pile our voices up, then they start to pay attention.
Unfortunately, a great example of that could be seen at the Walk. As I said, it broke my heart to see 30 and 40-year-old autistic adults walking around in helmets being led by aides. And then you saw 4 and 5-year-olds who got early intervention that you could not,
story.
I mean, that virtually were happy, well-adjusted children that, you know, you wouldn't even know they were autistic, most, you know, unless you had a trained eye. So it was such a clear demonstration of what is out there, and how if you miss the boat on getting intervention and getting services, you missed a chance at a productive life.
Yeah, and when we consider the numbers and how the numbers have skyrocketed in the last decade, especially, and so you think about the percentage of kids that were there that had been diagnosed 20, 30 years ago, there were very few people at the Walk. Very few that were that age range, right? And when we looked at if we looked at between the ages of 2 and 12 that were there, and if we go forward into the future and imagine if we didn't do these interventions, what that walk would look like in 20 years, it just can't happen.
It can't happen.
It won't happen.
It won't.
Can't happen, and we're all on the job, right?
That's right.
It cannot happen. But it's scary to think about. Scary to think about. I've told the story before about not knowing whether we were making the right choice, and a year into therapy, being able to see my child walking towards me with a child who did not have the benefit of what my child had had in that year, and they had been in the same program the year before. And my prayer was always, I would say to my husband, I want to be able to look into a crystal ball and see, you know, that we're doing the right thing. And a year later, these two children, my child and this other child, walking towards me. Oh my gosh, that's an image that I will never lose in my head, because to see the difference and to know that we were doing the right thing, and feel so bad for that child and for that child's parent that they weren't having access to what we had access to. It's what gets me in here every morning. We need to level the playing field, and we need for more people to have information. Because well-intentional people who don't get the diagnosis and don't know what ABA can do for their children,
I know.
they're not going to fight for it if they don't know. We need to get the word out.
Well, you know, we hear so much about every child in America deserving an education, every child in America deserving clothing and food and just the basic rights. Every autistic child, or every child with autism, deserves to have the best treatment and care. and the best education available to them.
Yeah.
No matter where they are on the spectrum, no matter how much money their parents make, no matter the color of their skin.
That's right.
And we need to make sure that every child in America with autism gets the proper treatment and care. And you hear the stories time and time again of the kids that miss the boat, of the kids that don't have access. You see it, and it's really makes me angry. But then I get over the anger and I get into action.
Well, that's what we talked about yesterday, that I can't be in grief for very long. I don't do well with grief. I get angry, and then when I get angry, I start moving.
Right.
Which, you know, I don't like being angry, but if I have to, if that's what gets me moving, then I'll get fatutzed, as we say in my house. I get fatutzed about it, and then we're going to take some action. So I like to say, get angry with me.
Yeah.
So I'll get angry together and tell our lawmakers and fight for, it's interesting that you brought up our children deserve it. They deserve what's best for them. They do. But to start with, we're going to fight for what's appropriate, because that's what they tell us we can fight for in IEPs.
Appropriate.
For free, appropriate public education. We're fighting for what's appropriate. And by the way, ABA is appropriate because it's effective.
Okay. Why don't we ask our viewers right now, Shannon, since we're going to be having Valerie Vanneman on, if you could contact us, email us, write us on Facebook, you know, just all the various social media we have. Can you tweet? Can you connect with us and get us your questions in advance for Valerie?
Yes.
Because
great idea.
we're going to have her on, and we want that to be almost like a little town hall where you can get your questions to her, because this is what we're trying to do. Perhaps you don't have access to a Bonnie Yates or a Valerie Vanneman because of where you live, because of financially, but we can have them on our show on Let's Talk Autism, and you can have the benefit of their knowledge.
Absolutely.
And that's so important.
Absolutely.
So
send us in your questions. Emily will show you the email address and the Facebook as we're talking. But we're getting close to the end of the show. And I know one of the things that you commented while we were watching the interviews is that you wanted to talk about the dads.
I did. I want to talk about the dads, because so many of the dads we met on Saturday. You know, we hear so much about autism warrior moms, and I think we consider ourselves in that league. And there are just lots of autism warrior moms out there. I'm amazed every day. We talk to them so often on this show. But the dads sometimes get shortchanged.
Yes.
And actually, next week, when we do our celebrity edition and VIP edition, I talked specifically to Holly Robinson Peete about this issue. Because Holly's husband, Rodney Peete, the great football player, Rodney wrote a book called Not My Kid. And he addresses the particular issues of fathers. And it's so hard for men with our culture, because our culture tells men like Rodney Peete, have a kid that's just like you. Because when you're a major league athlete, ball player, you have a boy, and your expectation is that boy is going to follow in your footsteps.
Absolutely.
And then your boy gets diagnosed with autism, and your heart breaks, because you think he's... Gosh, not only is he maybe not going to go make it to the big show, as they call it, the majors. He may not even be able to play ball. So what the fathers go through, and we have to understand for the men in our lives, our husbands, our fathers, our sons that are dealing with this issue. It's a very different cultural thing for men.
It is. It is. But I was so thrilled to see how many dads were there on Saturday.
I was too.
And how many dads wanted to talk in the microphone and talk about, and you talked, a lot of our celebrities, in fact, were dads.
Yes. And I say, let's hear it for the boys that, you know, that came out and showed up.
Suited up and showed up.
And I also, and I encourage our listeners and viewers at home as well to write about their husbands and write about how great their husbands are, because we have great husbands.
We do.
Yeah, our
really
husbands we got really lucky. When it comes to being the dad of a kid with autism, our husbands get an A+.
Yes, they do.
And I'm so excited about next week, the show next week, because you're going to hear Holly talk, and you're going to hear RJ, who now says, "Call me Rodney." He don't want to be called RJ. He's differentiating himself now, and he's into rap music. So you're going to see RJ next week, Holly and Rodney's kid. And you're also going to hear Holly talk about Rodney's struggle with these issues. You're going to hear Gary Cole. Gary Cole, we talked a little bit about. Gary's going to talk particularly about being the father of a child with autism. And somebody we've got coming up is our friend Joe Montaigne. We're going to be interviewing him within the next couple of months. He's got a very busy schedule with his show Criminal Minds, but he has done a lot of work with Act Today, particularly our military, Act Today for military children, and he has a daughter with autism. So we're going to have him on in the future about that issue, but next week you can hear Gary Cole, Holly Robinson Pete talk about this issue.
And let's not forget Ed Asner.
And Ed Asner.
How much was Ed Asner loving you?
How much was I loving him?
The two of you together was a love fest.
It was a love fest, and I'm telling you, I flirted. I admit.
You won't tell Reed.
I flirted so big time. I was an obnoxious flirt, and he flirted right back. And I said, one of my goals in life has been to hear Ed Asner say to me, because of course I modeled myself among many women like Marlo Thomas, the television shows I grew up watching, that Mary Tyler Moore. Okay, what career girl did not model herself on Mary Tyler Moore? And of course, the famous line of Ed Asner, "You got spunk. I hate spunk." I had to have him say it to me. I love and that. He did. And it just made my day, week, month, year.
That's wonderful.
And what is the word for him?
He's a firecracker. He's and at one point I said to him, because he met my son, and he said, "Oh, this is," and my son was so excited because he knew it was the guy from Up. The guy from Up. This is so exciting, and he said to me, "Oh, well, you're a good mom." And I said, "Well, how about you? You're a dad and a granddad, autism dad and autism granddad."
Yeah, and great uncle.
Yes. Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, because he has Ed has a brother who has a child.
Wow.
He has a nephew. So when I said, what brings you here? He goes, "Well, I'm kind of responsible for the fact that I got a lot of autism in my family," and the other thing that really touched me, and I didn't mention this to you, several times during the morning, I looked over, and in the tent, Ed Asner was with his son Matthew, and I saw Matthew rubbing his shoulder, holding his hand, bringing him water, and the love between this father and son.
Oh, nice.
Touched my heart.
Oh, what a wonderful thing. We're at the end of our show, but we want to remind you that there's so many different ways to interact. Even as the show ends, the conversation continues. We're going to cycle through some of the ways you can email us with your thoughts, your questions, your suggestions, your comments. We love to hear all of it. So you can email us, you can phone us, you can tweet us, you can Facebook us.
And please like us.
Yes, please like us on Facebook. You can watch us on Blip TV if you want to look at old episodes and see what we've been talking about. And you can also watch us on iTunes and YouTube. So all those places, free downloads.
And next week, a lot more from the Autism Speaks walk, and we're going to hear from some people that are pioneers in the field, celebrities in the field, an exciting show. Please be with us.
All right. So until then, please give your kiddos a hug from us. Bye-bye.
Bye.